The man's a psychopath, but I kind of like him.
I'm not a good guy, I'm a villain. I want to take what you have, I want to break what you are. Seeing someone show fear is one of the most intoxicating things. It is a drug, and I'm addicted to it.
The only thing I want to do is make this man bleed. Do the fucking death, Dreykus.
Hey, what is up, guys? It is CJ Trades back with another UFC breakdown video, and today we're going to be going over UFC 297 taking place this Saturday the 20th in Canada. And our first fight on the main card is a featherweight bout against Arnold Almighty Allen, the number 3 ranked featherweight fighter, versus Movsar King Dev Evloev, the number 9 ranked featherweight. And to be honest, this card, the Canadian card, is one of the weakest cards we've seen in a while. Obviously, 298, 299, 300 are all poised to be amazing cards, so that does affect it, but still a good featherweight matchup. Evloev is flying up the featherweight rankings with a big win against Diego Lopez, and Arnold Allen is also on a great run, only losing to Max Holloway, someone who's been at the top of the division for so long, which lands him at a 10-1 UFC record to Evloev's 7-0, and they're both 29, so young prospects that will move their way up the division. And my tips for Arnold Allen is give Evloev his first pro loss. Obviously, he's undefeated, and Allen wants to use this fight to join the title contenders at featherweight. He had that one chance against Holloway, but that was the only chance he's gotten so far, and then he needs to find the hole in Evloev's game. Evloev has shown great stand-up, great striking, great power, great wrestling. He's been amazing all around, and against someone like Diego Lopez, where he shows he's not going to tap, and he's going to grind out a win. And for Evloev, he wants to catch Arnold Allen over swinging. Allen has a ton of power, something that could definitely surprise Evloev, but he wants to catch him getting reckless, getting aggressive, and maybe even take him down and submit him, and he can expose Allen's grappling, which is not as strong as his, and then grinding out a decision win is also a good way to end it. Arnold Allen has good power, he's a force to be reckoned with, so Evloev has to play it smart if he wants to take the win. And that's why Evloev is the negative 185 favorite to Allen's plus 154, which gives Evloev a slight betting edge. And our second fight is a middleweight bout between Chris the Action Man Curtis, a friend of Sean Strickland's, versus the Canadian, our first Canadian, Marc-Andre Powerbar Barriault. And Chris Curtis is the number 13th ranked middleweight against Barriault, who is still unranked with a 5-5-1 record compared to Chris Curtis's 4-2-1 record. And Curtis is older at 36, where he joined the UFC later, but has shown a ton of promise, whereas Barriault is only 33. My tips for Curtis is power, pressure, and striking, because he has a ton of power, but Barriault has a great chin himself, and in the past Barriault has had a great time with his chin. He can stay in the pocket, meet someone, stand and bang, and win the exchanges, but Chris Curtis is a guy with a ton of power and a decent chin of his own, so he could definitely catch Barriault lacking. And Chris Curtis just needs to fight his fight, keep the constant pressure up. If he can stay in the pocket and keep constant pressure, I could see him getting a knockout in round 2 or 3 against Barriault, where I think Barriault needs to stay cautious, stay smart, and really be precise with his punches, which is why he's a plus 135 favorite to Curtis's minus 160. And our third fight on the card is a welterweight bout between Neil the Haitian Sensation Magny versus Mike Proper Malott. And this is another Canadian with Mike Malott, an unranked welterweight prospect against the UFC vet Neil Magny, a seasoned vet that has been a gatekeeper in the welterweight division for so long now, hovering around the bottom of the ranking at 13. He has 31 UFC fights, 21-10, most recently coming off a loss to Ian Gary at 292, whereas Mike Malott is only 3-0 in the UFC and working his way up at only 32. And for Magny, he came off a bad loss against Ian Gary, where he was toyed around with the entire fight. In his most recent fights in the UFC, people have found a formula that works against him, And as long as Malott can find that, of just giving him constant pressure, landing jabs, landing strikes, then he will definitely get an easy decision win, or win any way he really wants it. And Magny, just don't take too much damage, be smart, because he has not been reacting well to striking at all, and I think he should use the jab to keep Malott away and keep that pressure away from him, and definitely do not get taken down. Malott has great BJJ, a black belt, and someone who's good in the pocket, standing outside and on the ground, so Magny has everything to worry about here, but this could be a potential fraud check for Malott. He is considered one of the best Canadian prospects, and this is his chance to prove it. His first ranked fighter, a first gatekeeper to go against him, and I think he should stay patient as the minus 340 favorite against the heavily underdog Neil Magny, and just get an easy win like most people do against him and move on. And now our first title fight is a women's bantamweight title fight for the vacant belt between Raquel Rocky Pennington, the number 2 ranked fighter, versus Mayra Shitara Bueno Silva, the number 3 ranked fighter. And Pennington is 12-5 in the UFC to Bueno Silva's 5-2-2, and a 35-year-old vet to the 32-year-old. And both of these women are going to want this belt bad. It's been vacant for a while now, and this is their chance to establish a run and make the bantamweight division exciting again. And I think it's key for both of them to make it an exciting fight. Whoever wins this belt, they want to establish a championship pedigree. Pennington is known as more of a boring fighter, getting to a lot of decisions in her UFC career, so I think she should be fighting inside the pocket, trying to win and focus on every exchange and make it an exciting fight. Even if you win in a decision, having an interesting stand-up battle, whereas Bueno Silva should focus on power over volume. If she's going to be standing there swinging with Pennington the entire fight with more precision but less power, then Pennington will easily take that decision win. So I think she should utilize her Muay Thai stand-up skills and her BJJ and go for the submission. I think she's honestly better than Pennington in both areas and just needs to prove it and finish the fight before Pennington can get a decision win for the belt. And now, by far the best and most interesting fight on the card, it's what is making UFC 297 something worth watching, is the middleweight title fight matchup between Sean Tarzan Strickland versus Dricus Still Knox du Plessis. Two guys that came out of nowhere in the middleweight division and took down two of the best guys in Izzy Adesanya and Robert Whittaker. So both of them deserve where they are right now, but no one saw them here a year ago at this time. And we saw Strickland against Izzy, where he was using that Philly shell against the counter-attacking Izzy. He had his own variation with no head movement, no rolling whatsoever, but sticked with the basics, the 1-2, and somehow beat Izzy, beating him at his own game, which was such an exciting fight that earned Sean the belt. And Sean Strickland has looked great in training, besides when he's with his girlfriend Nina. But he looks in better shape than any time in his career, and it looks like that du Plessis' words definitely got to him, and he's gonna come with a vengeance to kill.
I will take your fucking soul, you understand me, you fucking pussy? Yeah, you fucking laugh, you fucking faggot.
Yeah, oh, I got a nerve. I see I hit a nerve there.
Yeah, you fucking did hit a nerve, you fucking bitch.
And Sean obviously won the belt against Izzy in a crazy upset. And then before that, du Plessis had another crazy upset over Whittaker. So both of these guys expected to be challenging Izzy for the belt for years to come. But
what's up? Let's go. Yeah. What's up? Yeah, my African brother. Yeah, my African brother. What's up? I'm African, but I ain't no brother of yours, son. Let's go, for real. I don't need a 36 and me to know where I'm from. You don't even, if I do a 26 and me, they'll say I'm from Nigeria. Do a 26 and me DNA test. It'll tell you where you're from.
they came against each other, but there is still a lot of tension and drama between the two. Obviously, at the last pay-per-view at 296, for some reason, they were seated right next to each other. Words were exchanged, kids were shoved aside, and the two went at it. It looked like Strickland maybe had a 10-9 victory in their first fight, but this one in the actual octagon will settle the score. And Strickland is going to be looking to extend his title run with guys like Izzy and Whitaker in the dumps right now. This is his chance to make a legacy and a name for himself. He's only 32, 15-5 in the UFC, whereas Du Plessis is the number 2 ranked challenger and undefeated so far. But Du Plessis had not had an easy path. He fights a very unique way, some call stupid. He has a lot of weird moments like body slamming himself to the ground. And he struggled a lot against Tavares, one of Strickland's sparring partners. So I think Du Plessis is not, even though he is the favorite, I think Strickland has the upper hand here. But I think Strickland cannot get too emotional. He's known for getting emotional, speaking his mind freely. And at the press conference, words were exchanged where Du Plessis was bringing up Strickland's emotional past, and Strickland did get very upset about it, even on Theo Von's podcast. So I think Strickland should use this energy to stay aggressive and assertive in the octagon, but not get reckless. The mistake here would be terrible to lose the belt because of his emotions. So I think he should be using his gas tank and his endurance, take the fight down, keep it on the feet, but keep the pressure up the entire 5 rounds against Du Plessis, because Du Plessis will not be able to handle the constant pressure by Sean. And I could easily see Sean tiring out Du Plessis before he can finish him, whereas Du Plessis wants to become a true African champ and maybe even fight Izzy after their weird confrontation in the ring. And although Sean is a plus 114 favorite, I have a good feeling about him to the minus 138 favorite Du Plessis. And now we're going to be going over my picks, but before I do that, I'll go over my little bit of credibility I do have. I've done the last 3 card reviews, which you can all check out on my channel under the UFC section. I did 294, 295, 296, all great cards with title fights in between, and my lock of the nights are 3-0, which is a bet I'm telling you guys to take. I'm 3-0 so far, but you can put all your money on it, and that's the fight. If you want to win one bet, get the ball rolling, that's the one to pick. And then my main card picks are obviously my picks for the main card, with one missing because of Ian Gary. But I'm 9-4-1 thanks to Johnny Walker once again, which is not too bad. A little above 60%, which is better than average, and I'll keep aiming to get that higher. And now for my actual picks, we'll be starting at the bottom with Arnold Allen versus Movsar Evloev, and I'm going with Evloev for the win. This might have been the hardest one to pick on the card. I'm a big Arnold Allen guy. I like his power. I think he's dangerous, but Evloev looks so strong on the ground, and Allen's takedown defense has not been great. His grappling has not been great, so I think that advantage will give Evloev the edge. And then moving on to Chris Curtis versus Barriault, a middleweight fight. I'm giving it to the action man. I think he's going to channel that Sean Strickland energy. They've been training together, and I think he'll be able to crack Barriault's chin and get a knockout victory within 3 rounds. And then moving on to Neil Magny versus Mike Malott, a welterweight bout. I'm really not a fan of Neil Magny at all. I think he's just a gatekeeper. He's boring. He's definitely been declining. He looked terrible against Ian Gary. So I think Malott is going to raise his stock even more and get probably a decision win. And then speaking of decision wins, our next fight is Pennington versus Bueno Silva, the women's bantamweight title fight, and I'm giving it to Bueno Silva. I think she's going to submit Pennington in the 3rd round before Pennington can grind out a decision. And then for the main event, Sean Strickland versus Du Plessis, the middleweight title fight. Who would have thought these two would be fighting for the belt again? I'm going to give it to Sean Strickland. He's a slight underdog, but I like his chances. I like the Philly shell. A lot of people think that Du Plessis looks better, and Sean only got lucky against Izzy. But I think that Sean is a great fighter with a great gas tank, that is someone who can tire out Du Plessis, who beat an injured Whitaker, someone not at his best, and I think Strickland will send Du Plessis home. And once again, showing love to the prelims. This is one of the smallest cards, and it almost looked like they struggled to fill it out completely with only 3 early prelims, but they did get a lot of Canadians on the card, and just some guys to look out for. Gordon vs. Flick is not a bad fight at all at the bottom. Robertson, I think, is one of the most boring UFC fighters I've ever seen. But there still is good here with Jordan Woodson, Saidi Tavares, and Brad Katona, a TUF guy, someone who's coming off a win I'm a big fan of, so I think it'll be interesting to see him fight once again, and then obviously the main card will be great too. And now the best part of the show is CJ's awards, and we're going over the same 3 award categories, which is the lock of the night, the bet that I'm telling you to put your money on. I'm 3-0 so far. The story of the night, which is an interesting fight on the card, something to look out for, and then a fight of the night, which will be the best fight, the most exciting fight to see. And starting off with the lock of the night, I'm going with Mike Malott at -340 against Neil Magny. I just think Neil Magny is just really not that good, and I think Mike Malott is going to steamroll Neil Magny and take him out like a Canadian hockey player. And the story of the night is unsurprisingly Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis. 2 fighters that nobody imagined would be fighting for the belt a year ago today, but here they are, guys with a ton of beef against each other. They already fought each other at the last pay-per-view, which is insane to think about, and now they're going to be doing it in the ring. Sean definitely hates du Plessis, so it will be an interesting fight and the most exciting to watch. And the fight of the night, also unsurprisingly, is going to be Sean Strickland versus du Plessis again. There's just no way this won't be a great fight. These guys hate each other. They had a crazy fight already, and there's a ton of beef between them. They had a crazy press conference. Strickland's calling du Plessis gay. Du Plessis is making fun of Strickland's past. A lot of anger on both sides and animosity, so it will be a great fight for the middleweight belt, which nobody would have seen coming. And I think it'll be a great fight of 2 guys that are going to stand and bang with each other. They both have similar ground games where either of them can win in any way possible, and there's no way this fight will disappoint. So that will be all for the video today. I hope you guys are excited for the card as I am, and definitely comment down below your thoughts on the card, your thoughts on my predictions, my picks, what you guys think. I love to talk to you guys in the comments. If you think I'm right, if you think I'm wrong, whatever you guys want to talk about. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and see you next time.